Now again, if you're under the age of 40, this used to be a thing. Again, if you're under the age of 40, oh dear. Boys, quiet please. Thank you. Oh, they got to have the last word. Well, dear me. Well, hello. Another day, another contest, and this one is for Emma at 8 Vinyl Low. Emma is a massive Cheap Trick fan, apparently. Not that Emma is massive, not in the slightest, just that her love for the band is larger than average. Well, you know, you get the point. So naturally, the contest is Cheap Trick themed. Now, I did therefore consider a similarly themed response and dress up as a member of the band, but I couldn't find any clothes out there in my wardrobe wacky enough to resemble Rick Nielsen. As a former drummer, I have a great admiration for Bunny Carlos, but as for looking like him, I think not. And similarly, I'm simply not attractive enough to pull off Robin Zander. What do you mean? Looking at the transformation the makeup crew at The Sopranos did him, then anything is possible, surely. What do you mean that's not him? Clearly it is. Anyway, there are 5 challenges and 1 bonus. So 6 challenges. Why didn't I just say 6 in the first place? And in my responses, I'm going to veer away from the more mainstream records in my collection and look for the more deeper, stranger cuts from, you know, less well-known artists in it. Now, firstly, it's the I Want You to Want Me challenge. Emma asks us to show an underrated gem of an album in our collections, and I've chosen this rather beautiful and lovely and whimsical record titled On the Shore by a British folk band called Simply Trees. Not Simply Trees, as in their name is Simply Trees, but just Trees. Okay, not that they're called Trees. All right, there we are. Anyway, I think put that part down there. Oh, my back. Think Fairport Convention with a smattering of prog, enchanting female vocals with equally enchanting choral, acoustic, and electrical instrumental accompaniment. Try saying that after a few sherbets. Next up is a challenge called In Colour, where we are asked to show a most colourful record, be that the vinyl itself or the cover artwork, liner, or indeed any combination of said aforementioned articles. Now, you might be surprised to hear that I am really very shallow and I'm attracted to visually attractive things. A bit of a magpie, really, I suppose. Remember the old days when, you know, we'd go into a record shop and buy an album based on the cover art alone with, you know, no idea what the music might be like? Anyone under the age of 40 probably has absolutely no concept of such risk-taking behaviour, but before the instant gratification of Spotify or Apple Music or the like, this is what many of us did, and I still do, to be honest. And my choice is such an album I bought purely on the love for its cover. It's this one, Look at You Now by Flower Kings. Now, if this doesn't scream colour to you, then I don't know what will, unless you're visually impaired. What do you mean they're called the Flower Kings? I don't know. Why is everything so bloody complicated? Challenge numero 3, Surrender. Show an album you learned to love. Well, I'm going to show you a record I'm still actually trying to get into, despite many listenings over many years now, and it's this one. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by a relatively unknown band called Genesis, I believe. Seriously, I've had this record for years now and I still haven't managed to get all the way through it, and I don't think side 4 has ever been played. I think it's the combination of its length and all those bloody conceptual sleeve notes that you got to get through. When I first got the record, I could read them without glasses even. It's been that long. Maybe I'll have it played at my funeral. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Challenge number 4 is Budokan Energy. Show a live album that encapsulates the energy of the Tricksters Budokan concert release from 1979. Look, I'm not a huge fan of live albums, and by huge I don't. Let's not go there again, shall we? But for me, a classic live record has to follow a certain recipe. It has to have certain necessary and non-negotiable ingredients, they being recorded in the 1970s or 80s at a stretch. It's got to be a double album, or if you're a prog-tastic ensemble of noodlers, a triple offering even. Oh God, it's got to be housed in a gatefold sleeve. Oh, it's all gone wrong. Preferably with lots and lots of, concert photographs. And it's got to contain few overdubs. Anyway, I've chosen a live recording. There's none of those, basically, apart from the decade of its actual recording. I'm not even sure if it's even officially released as a live album in its own right, and I only possess it in the form of a download. It is, though, the wonderful Bebop Deluxe and the live offerings on the 4-disc, deluxe version of Modern Music. I've got the vinyl album, Modern Music. Now, disc 3 on this 4-disc issue is a BBC in-concert recording from 1978, most of which is still available to view on YouTube, and disc 4 is a recording from later that year from the Riviera Theatre in Chicago, and both are utterly sublime, effortlessly capturing the energy of those live performances. And the penultimate challenge is called She's Tight. Oh, look, I'm home alone here right now, and I still check the house before saying that out loud. I mean, you never know who's listening these days, but by She's Tight, Emma wants us to share a record that's so well put together that you never skip a track. Now, I'm from that generation who bought an album, then played it from start to finish, except Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, that is, and certainly did not get up to skip tracks at any time. Again, if you're under the age of 40, this used to be a thing, not skipping tracks. And pretty well all of my records are still listened to in this way. But I have to choose one, and it's going to be the very first album I ever bought. Now, the corner shop near where I grew up used to sell records, mainly those ones with cover versions of recent hits, with like a model lady on the front or whatever. But one day I was in there with my mother, and I spotted a record I immediately wanted, and it's this one. Geoff Love and his orchestra's big war movie themes. Now, as a young pup, I loved watching. There we are. I loved watching those classic war movies, and this record meant I could listen to the theme tunes whenever I wanted, and not just, on Christmas Day. It's a record that I still play regularly to this day, and one that I certainly never ever skip. And now for the bonus challenge, Emma asks us to share, if we can, a Cheap Trick inspired memory. And this one is a really, really easy one for me. Now, every Saturday morning back in the late 1970s, Swansea Leisure Centre, near where I grew up, used to put on a disco for young teenagers. And of course, my mates and a lanky, skinny, but thankfully, zit-free 15-year-old me would venture there every week in the hope of plucking up sufficient courage to actually talk to a member of the opposite sex. Now, we were rock fans and so had to endure 3 hours or so of pop and disco music in the hope that the DJ might play one or two tunes we might enjoy. And one of those tunes that we used to get a reasonably regular spin was I Want You to Want Me, a single release from the Budokan live album. And it is the only Cheap Trick record I own. And here it is, not even in a picture sleeve, just a plain old epic orange paper outer jobby. Well, there you go, Emma. That's my entry into your contest. Now, let's have a look at your video to see exactly what it is I'm going to win.
Get a couple of things. Winner's going to get this exclusive authorized Cheap Trick's Greatest Hits.
Oh, for